So the hamburger method, what I call, is you're going to post something that resonates with your audience that isn't necessarily 100% directly correlated to what it is that you sell. And then in the middle, you're going, then, between, like, next, you will post a video that is directly related to what you sell. And then after that, you will post another video that is a little bit cousin, or indirectly related to what you sell, but that you still know resonates with your target audience.
Today, I'm very excited to be joined by Shanae Murray. If you don't know who Shanae is, she's a LinkedIn strategist that helps business owners attract their ideal clients. She's the founder of Growth Academy, a training solution for small business owners that want to build a sustainable, personable brand. Shanae, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Super awesome to have you here. Today, Shanae and I are going to explore how to attract your ideal audience with LinkedIn video. Now, before we go there, I would love to hear your story. How in the world did you get into LinkedIn?
Yeah, so it happened a few years ago, and it actually was completely unexpected. So take you back into time, and I'm working then at a job. I'm actually a marketing assistant, kind of in this physician type of recruiting agency. It's kind of a startup in South Florida. And I'm their marketing assistant. I get a call from the daycare that my child was at saying, "Oh, she's sick. You got to come get her." So I leave the job. I go to get her. Turns out that she had some virus, and she ends up getting admitted for 14 days in the hospital. It's a big thing. And so I end up getting a text message from my boss at the time being like, "Hey, it's time for you to come back to work, or basically you won't have a job when you get back." And at that moment, literally sitting in the hospital, I was like, this is pretty brutal. And I never want to be in this position again. So I just started to go to Google. And I was like, how can I make money online? How can I make money as a writer? Because, one of the skills that I would use for them was writing, copywriting, things like that. And one of the first articles that I happened chanced upon was like, go to this place called LinkedIn and create an account, start to message people. So I did. I started to do that, and I got my first few clients. And within the first 4 weeks, through outbound, just like the most terrible outbound strategy, I was able to replace my tiny income at that place, but full-time online. Fast forward a couple months, I was like, this is a lot of work, sending a lot of these hundreds of messages. Very few people will respond. I would have to pull teeth on the consultation calls if they even showed up. And at the same time, video is kind of starting on LinkedIn, because there was a time where video didn't even exist on the platform.
What year was this?
This was late 2018.
Okay, keep going.
So by November 2018, I was like, I don't like this outbound thing, but I don't like it so much that if I don't get good at something else, I'm going to have to go get a job, right? And so I started creating content. So from late November to January 1st, 2018, I did one video a day. And from that point forward, all of my clients have been inbound.
Fascinating.
And, yeah.
So tell us about what kind of videos you were making.
Honestly, there wasn't that much of a strategy. I just started sharing, like, the first one was who I was and what I had overcome. I remember one of the first few ones was about scars, because I'm a cancer survivor, so I have scars. And I just said, the scars don't really define you. And then just different ones about gratitude, about business. I was kind of just documenting my journey along the way. And if I didn't know what to post that day, I would just post something that actually happened and what I learned from it and what I think others could learn from the same experience or learn without having that particular experience. And, that's what I just posted.
So tell us the rest of the story. What happened after that?
So I'm the type of person that once I see the results change, it's kind of pedal to the metal. And it's been pedal to the metal ever since. That kind of led to me being through demand, building a healthcare marketing agency. And then that kind of continued until COVID happened. When COVID happened, I had a slew, probably within 1 week, 100 to 200 entrepreneurs that had been following me
Mm.
on LinkedIn. And it took me 14 months to get to 30,000 followers. And the next month I had gone to 100,000.
Wow.
So there was a tipping point at month 14. But by the time that COVID happened, I had my tipping point. And people started to reach out to me and said, hey, I know that you mainly deal with businesses, and obviously they can't afford the ticket of an agency every single month. They also didn't want us to execute all the work, but do you have a thing that could help like me as a coach grow on LinkedIn? And in the beginning, I ignored it, but after you get like 200 requests, you're like, okay, I'll build this thing. And so that's when I started Growth Academy. Again, kind of built through demand.
So take us up to today. Like, what are you doing now?
So Growth Academy, we've just
Explain what that is.
Okay, so we help business owners who really are not that comfortable at first with marketing themselves, but who actually do deliver great results for their clients to learn how to market themselves and to do it in a way where they don't feel like it isn't fun and they don't feel like they aren't being themselves in the process. And I think that that's a huge part of it, because if you have to do something that you feel like you hate every single day to market your business, it's probably not going to last forever. You're probably not going to adopt it as part of who you are. But if we could find a process for you that aligns with your values and that leverages your strengths so that it energizes you instead of takes energy from you, that's where the magic happens.
So in Growth Academy, I would imagine it's very focused on LinkedIn and specifically also video. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes. Focused on LinkedIn, focused on short form video, and especially live video.
Very cool. Okay, so thank you, first of all, for sharing that story. I know we could have gone a lot deeper. There's plenty of marketers and entrepreneurs listening right now who maybe just haven't given LinkedIn its fair shot. You know, maybe they're all in on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or some other platform that I haven't mentioned, but maybe they've just overlooked LinkedIn. Or maybe they're on LinkedIn, but the idea of using video on LinkedIn is completely outside of their realm of possibility. So why should marketers focus on LinkedIn video? What's the upside? What's possible when you do that?
Yeah, so I'll kind of take your question into two parts. Number one, for me, if you're going to think like a marketer, it's really your results depend on the quality of person that you reach. And part of that is, are they the right person? Do they have the resources to afford whatever it is that you're trying to sell? And so when I look at LinkedIn, your ability to reach a place where 4 out of every 5 people are decision makers, people on average make double the income compared to Facebook and Instagram, and where you don't have to go through a bunch of middle people to reach a decision maker, it just, for me, increases the odds of success and increases the odds of this person is going to have the resources to be able to potentially work with me if that's what we want. So that's like one part of it. The other part of it is why video on LinkedIn, especially with the rise of AI. A lot of your competitors, whoever's listening, have probably started to create content. Now, whether they create content really well is a different story, but they're trying. And usually the point of least resistance to content creation is text. Everyone can do a text post or some image or whatever. But can you show up on video? Can you say something new or different? Does your energy catch my attention, or do I gravitate towards you? And even more so on live videos. So it's just like, do I want to compete in a red ocean or do I want to compete in a blue ocean? And that's really the question that I would ask myself if I were listening.
I love that. And there's so much more that we're going to talk about as we break down my next question. So everybody pay attention, because there's a really good chance that you don't even realize what LinkedIn is capable of doing with video. So we've come up with 3 different kinds of video that you and I have prepared. Let's just start with the first type of video and let's define it. and talk about it a little bit, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah. So the first video is kind of, I would say, LinkedIn's original type of video. It's a video that you can post. It's vertical or horizontal. It can be up to 15 minutes, and people will see it just on the regular feed as they scroll. Of recent, some people, especially if they're in B2B marketing, will use these type of videos as like showing, the screen and showing tutorials or whatever. But it could also just be like a longer YouTube style video. And that's the first type of video.
Let's talk a little bit more about what you can and cannot do with that type of video. And even before we go there, I just have a question. Is anybody going to watch a 15-minute video on LinkedIn? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I think so, if it's
Really?
good enough.
Okay. So let's talk about the types of things you're seeing people do with this kind of video, and then maybe what you can and can't do with this type of video.
Yeah, like I've seen, let's say like coaches that teach Excel or something, right? They could show their screen and then explain whatever it is that they're teaching. I've seen like AI coaches do the same thing where they're showing different tools. Also, if they're selling physical products, they could show that they went to like a conference, and then it's kind of like vlog style in that case where they're showing their products or have a company update. If they're a CEO, they could kind of do like a press release kind of video and just share something. Like I've seen the CEO of Walmart do that on LinkedIn. So it really depends on the business and the person.
Can these things be scheduled?
Yes.
Do you have to use the native LinkedIn app or whatever to do that, or can you use
No.
third-party apps?
You could use third-party apps.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So we're going to call this the feed video. And just so I understand what you're saying, these are the videos that have been around forever. You said they're up to 15 minutes. They can be horizontal or video or vertical, and
Or
typically
square.
or
you know.
square. Okay. There you
Yeah.
go. And typically they're used to either educate, or entertain in the case of a vlog, right? Like a behind the
Yeah.
scenes of how I do my business. So what's the next type of video we're talking about here?
So the next type of video is relatively new. I think that it's been in the works since early 2024 in beta, and it is a TikTok style feed that is in beta on LinkedIn. And the videos here, they have to be vertical. Well, they could be horizontal, but it looks really weird and it gets less engagement. But you want it to be vertical through their best practices. They're between 45 seconds to 2 minutes. And they really want these type of videos to be actionable. Think about if you went on TikTok and you wanted to learn something, you wanted to take something with you that you could apply in less than 2 minutes. That's what they're really creating. And I think that they're doing a phenomenal job. Also, because this beta feed is still technically in beta, a lot of the people that are publishing videos on this feed and that are engaging on this feed have access to the beta, and they're highly responsive. So they tend to be more active on the platform. They tend to respond to connection requests faster, and they tend to respond to comments and stuff faster.
Let's talk about, like, what do they call this feed and where do we find it?
The short video beta feed. I don't know what they officially call it, but like in all of the announcements, you'll see like TikTok style video only feed on LinkedIn.
They actually call it TikTok style? That's
No, like
fascinating.
third party people call it that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
But
okay.
it's just a feed with video. That's it. You can't
and
see
it's
anything
desktop
else.
or mobile, or is it mobile only?
It's only on mobile right now.
Okay. So how is it different than TikTok and or Instagram?
I think they're still selecting which videos are being published to this feed. And so the biggest difference that I see is that they tend to be more professional, a little bit higher quality, and they either help job seekers or they're business related in some way. So it's just when you're scrolling the feed, you could tell that this is LinkedIn.
Okay, a couple questions. Do you have access to this short form
Yes.
video feed, and have you created content specifically?
Yes.
Okay. So, and do you also have access to like Instagram Reels? Have you created similar content on Instagram and or YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay. So help me understand the creative process. How is it different utilizing LinkedIn? Do you have to upload the video and you're using CapCut to edit it? Or does LinkedIn have built-in features that allow you to, add effects over the top of the video, that kind of thing?
I
Music?
mean, the I would do all of the effects that you need to add to it beforehand, because even if they do have that, which I think they have some, it's not that user friendly. And so you want to think about, like, what are leaders more interested in? And those may be the type of things that you'd want to deploy on this feed. Or if you're looking to recruit talent, that could also be the case.
So tell us what you're doing with it.
So a lot of the videos that have taken off on this feed for me, it's interesting. They tend to not have anything to do with LinkedIn, and again, because they want leadership stuff, and they have to do a lot with mindset, personal development, and leadership skills in general. One of the biggest differences too is that the impression ratio to engagement ratio there's like a huge gap. So if I would get 500,000 impressions on the first type of video, there would be at least like 5,000 likes, 500 comments, things like that. On this, you could have maybe 100 likes and your video could be getting 1 million impressions.
So just so we're clear, do you believe an impression is a play, or do you think it's just seeing the thumbnail?
No. So an impression is like they have to stop for a certain amount of time, and then it'll also show you the views.
Okay.
But the point is that they're less likely to engage, but more likely to go to your profile as well.
Okay.
Which is important.
When you're creating these short form videos on LinkedIn, is it just video? Are you allowed to have text? Is there descriptions, like captions, that kind of thing?
So it's actually interesting that you mentioned that. About last week, there's a new feature where I know that they want to bring more people to the beta feed, because even when you're scrolling the regular feed now, you'll go down a little and then you'll see like a carousel of the short videos.
Okay.
Where you could click on them individually. Now, what's important is that now that this carousel exists, they're serving people, the videos that are on the video feed, the beta feed. And then when you click on it, you're kind of thrown into that feed. But when people are scrolling the carousel, you can't hear anything. All you can do is see. So the videos that are getting my attention as I'm like testing and scrolling the carousel are videos that, let's say it's like 5 tips to grow on LinkedIn, but the header thing is like by my head, right? When I start the video. And then also ones that have captions, and maybe ones where my expressions and my passion come through a little bit more, because the video tends to be smaller when it's on the carousel and I have to stand out as they go like this.
If somebody wants to start using this, is there an application? Has there historically been with LinkedIn, or is it open to everyone?
From what I've heard, they've rolled it out to a lot more people. So if you're in the US, especially, if you don't see like the video only tab on mobile at the bottom of your LinkedIn app, what you could do is like you could undownload it from your phone and then re-download the app, re-log in, see if that resets it. But what I've also seen is that just because you're not in the beta doesn't mean that they won't select your video. So in the way beginning of this, I had clients that were not in the beta, but as I was scrolling, since they had a high quality video, their video would take off and I would see it in the feed.
Interesting. Okay. We'll come back to all this in a little bit. So far what we've learned about this short form video on LinkedIn is it's up to 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. You said 45 seconds to 2 minutes. Does that mean they recommend minimum of 45 seconds?
Yes. That's what their best practices have been.
Okay. That's fascinating, because a lot of people that have really short ones probably don't want to experiment with them on this platform. Have you also experimented with repurposing from like shorts and or reels, and does that work or not work?
It works less.
Okay. Because their algorithm probably knows what's going on, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it sounds like, how long has this beta been out?
I think less than 6 months now, about 6 months.
Okay. Do you anticipate this will come out of beta in the coming months, or is the experience with LinkedIn that they take forever to move out of beta?
I mean, will it take forever? Probably. And will it come out of beta? I think so, because they've made those 2 UI changes. So one I mentioned, which is They're trying to get more people to the beta just on the regular feed.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one is when I on desktop, when I go to post now, the thing that used to say start a post, it says post your video. So it'll be like post your next video or regular post. Let me see exactly what it says, but it didn't say video before.
That's okay.
And
I don't need to know
it said
exactly.
share your next video or start a post.
Interesting. So this is a signal that LinkedIn is trying to get creators to start sharing more video. But can you upload the shorts on the desktop? You just cannot see them on the desktop. Is that how it is today?
Yes.
Okay. That's good to know. All right. So we've talked about what we're calling short/reels/ short form.
Whatever. LinkedIn.
They don't really have a name.
Because on YouTube, I see people searching on the channel like LinkedIn Reels. I'm like, really?
Yeah. They got to come up with a name for this thing, but whatever it is, we'll call it short form video. All right. So we've talked about regular video, which is this legacy kind of historical video, which we're calling feed video. We've talked about short form video. You already hinted about live video. And here's what many of my listeners probably know is that live video has been around for a long, long time on LinkedIn. But talk about where it's at today.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most underrated things when it comes to either A, building an email list, or B, just converting connections into clients on LinkedIn, specifically for people that actually enjoy sharing what they know with their audience and that are good teachers. And so I think more people are using it, but it's still such a blue ocean that if you were, whoever's listening, you listening right now, if you were to do this really well every other week, you'd probably be the top 0.01% in your niche.
So explain to people how live video works on LinkedIn, because most of my audience, I guarantee you, has not done it.
Yeah, so you can schedule your LinkedIn live video through StreamYard, like a third-party application through StreamYard or Restream, or you can do it through Zoom as well. It's a little bit more complicated that way, so I just suggest people use an easy tool like StreamYard or Restream, unless you know things like OBS and are technically proficient.
Real quick question. Can you go live from your mobile phone when you're at an event and or experience without having to use a third-party tool?
No.
Okay. So that's really important for everybody to understand. You have to have another app in order to be able to go live on LinkedIn. So that's really important.
Yes. And, it's not easy like Instagram or Facebook where you just click the red live button and you're like, oh, vlogging.
Yep.
I think they almost keep it this way because they want it more like you're on a stage and you've prepared and you're at your desk or whatever at a conference, and it's not you eating chicken wings like on Instagram.
So what happens when you're live? How do your fans know you're live?
Okay, so the first thing is that one of the biggest mistakes I see people make with live videos is that they'll schedule it today and then do it in 2 days, and that's not enough time. So if you're going to do your first LinkedIn live video, I highly recommend 2 to 4 weeks out. The reason is because you could leverage 1,000. You can invite 1,000 of your first degree connections every single week to a live event. So if you did one in a month, you could invite 4,000 of your first degree connections. And that's the first way that they find out. The second way is that you can notify them through your LinkedIn newsletter, notify them when you create the event, remind them of the event when it's happening. And then the third way is that LinkedIn will notify them in the notifications when you go live.
Okay, so let's just talk about the concept of events, because a lot of people don't understand what that is, because that's not how it works on all the other platforms.
I know.
Right? So kind of explain the connection between the live video and the event.
So what LinkedIn allows you to do, I think, is pretty cool. Instead of you just going live and kind of praying and wishing that people show up, they give you 1,000 credits. So they give you the ability to invite 1,000 people in your network to this event. Now,
but wait, real quick, just so we're clear, you have to create an event first, or
through StreamYard or Restream.
Okay, so this is the part I wanted to clarify to everybody. So they have this thing on LinkedIn called events, right? And you can have them for pages and or personal profiles, right?
Yes.
And when you have an event, it could be a physical event or it could be an online event, right? Mm-hmm. So like, for example, we have an event called Social Media Marketing World, right? Which is a physical event. But if you're doing a streaming event, do you use a tool like StreamYard and it just automatically does the whole back end for you, or do you need to
Yes.
set? It does. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and really, then people can RSVP for that event, kind of like an Eventbrite kind of experience, right? And they can say if they're going or not, or no.
Well, it does the back end creation of the event. You still have to go in, you have to click the event and then click invite. So click share and then start to invite your connections. What these third party tools will do will post the event onto your profile, and then you can manually invite the people.
Got it. And then what happens after the live video is over with?
So after the live video is over with, I mean, it really depends on the person, right? But I'll say this, like if you host 4 consecutive live videos, and I mean consecutive by either every other week, every month, or every week, if you start every week, and you do not get the result that you were anticipating, whether it be consultations or having people register for a Zoom webinar that's off of LinkedIn or whatever, then the messaging or the presentation needs to be worked on.
Well, I guess what I was curious about is what happens to the video after the live event is over with?
It stays on your profile, but I have people that, let's say they only want it available live. LinkedIn will allow you to trim the video to, let's say, the first 3 seconds, and then it won't be available on LinkedIn.
So wait, why would you trim the video for the first 3 seconds? Help me understand that.
For some people, they don't want the replay on their profile. They only want the training to be
I
for
see.
people that show up live.
Got it. Okay. So let me just wrap my head around what we've talked about. We've got the feed video, we've got the short form video, and we've got the live video.
Yeah.
Live video requires you to set up an event, which is typically handled, well, is always handled, it sounds like, by a third-party tool like Ecamm, StreamYard, whatever, Restream. And then, but it's up to you to go in to LinkedIn and specifically invite people and promote this thing, right? And you can promote your event organically if you want on your profile or your page. You could probably put paid ads towards it, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then when it's done, that video will show up in some sort of a tab on LinkedIn called video. Okay.
Yeah, it'll show up under the events tab in your activity section.
Okay. And then the regular feed videos are what I want to ask is, like, we've got these 3 different kinds of videos. Do they all get grouped together under a category called video, or are they all kind of hidden in different places on LinkedIn?
No. So the videos, the feed videos and the short videos will be under the video tab in your activity section, but the live video events will be under the event section in your activity section.
Perfect. Okay. Now that you helped me understand all the things you can do, let's talk about your method for creating compelling videos, because obviously not every video is going to perform, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you want to...
Yeah, your hamburger method.
Re-ask your question.
Talk to me about your hamburger method.
Okay. So, I mean, the first thing is to understand and to accept that not every video is going to resonate with your audience the way that you thought it would. That's just the game that we're in. And I think that even low engagement is good feedback if you're actually paying attention. The second thing to understand is that this isn't Facebook, and nobody wants to be sold to directly 24/7. It's just not the culture of LinkedIn. So the hamburger method, what I call, is you're going to post something that resonates with your audience that isn't necessarily 100% directly correlated to what it is that you sell. And then in the middle, between, like, next, you will post a video that is directly related to what you sell. And then after that, you will post another video that is a little bit cousin, or indirectly related to what you sell, but that you still know resonates with your target audience. So for example, I could post a video on Monday saying, you're probably a creator, you probably experience burnout. Here are things that I do that have nothing to do with content creation that help me create content consistently. That is resonating with my audience because I know that they create content, that they probably experience burnout, whatever, but it doesn't necessarily directly correlate to LinkedIn and what I sell. Then Tuesday, I could be like, this is how you get clients or grow your email list with LinkedIn newsletters. That is directly correlated to what I sell. And then Wednesday, let's say I know that my clients depend too much on referrals. I could share how they could get inbound clients without necessarily depending on referrals. That's not really what I sell, but that will still resonate with them. So you want to apply the hamburger method to your video strategy.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is kind of like every other video, for
Yeah.
every video that is directly related to what you do and may have a pitch in it, you should have another one on
Yes.
each side of it, basically, that are more insightful, educational, entertaining, something that's not directly related, but that you know your audience is still interested in. Is that what I'm
And
hearing you
that's
say?
the key, that you know your audience is still interested in. And that's where most people don't know.
So how do you find that? Give some tips on how we can figure that out.
Pay attention to your best clients, and not just what they say, but what they don't say. And, just the type of person that they are. Like, are they married? Are they not? How do they spend their time outside of whatever it is that they do? Why did they come to you in the first place? What do they buy that's not related to what you buy? If they have kids, what age are their kids? If they have aging parents, do they have aging parents? Don't they? Are they interested in personal development? For me, like I am just very observant, and those things matter to me. And eventually you'll see a pattern where you know who your top 20% clients are, even outside of what you sell.
Okay, this question is a question we did not discuss when we were prepping, but I think people might be curious about. The mix of short form, regular length video, and live video. Do we need to use multiple types of video, or can we just go all in on one? Like, what's your professional advice on this?
I would only go in, like, if you had to choose one, I'd start with short form. I would only kind of gravitate towards the original type of video if you are someone who's constantly sharing your screen because what you do is very technical, like Excel spreadsheets and all that stuff. But for most people, I'd advise going all in on short form first. And then maybe, let's say you post short form for a month, your top 3 short form videos could then be converted into your first 3 live events.
Oh, tell me more about that. How would that work?
So if I create a short form video, which is like, hey, here's how to launch your LinkedIn newsletter in under 2 minutes and why it's important, blah, blah, blah. And it just outperforms 5x all the other short form videos. Then I'm going to do a LinkedIn event, which is like how to launch your LinkedIn newsletter and why it's important. And I'll just, I'll really go into it for about 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay, this next question is also one that's in my mind. On Instagram, for example, we know that reel videos, REEL videos, are typically shown to people who are not necessarily your followers. Mm-hmm. And we know that the feed videos and stories are shown to your followers. Mm-hmm. Do you generally find on LinkedIn that it's similar, where the short form video is shown to a new audience that may not know who you are, but the regular videos are restricted to the people that follow you?
I think so. I mean, I have no insider knowledge, but from what I've seen, I think so. Only because if you post an original style video, the people that tend to comment gravitate towards being first degree connections, which means they're already connected to you. And one of the telling signs that your short reel has taken off is that you'll have a lot of second and third degree people and people that you haven't really even seen. They're just completely new people. Whenever I'm scrolling on the TikTok style feed, on the beta feed, I've seen people that I've never seen in my life on LinkedIn. 9 out of 10 videos.
That's good. So it especially sounds like it's true that they're trying to get these short form videos out to a brand new audience to keep them on platform. The actions that someone can take when they are watching a short form video, are they exactly the same actions that they would take if they're watching a live video? Do you understand what I'm asking? Like comments and thumbs up and all that kind of stuff, direct messages. I mean, if you're watching someone else's short form video, what are the engagement metrics, I guess, is what I'm really asking.
So I think one of the first ones is yes, they could yes, they could comment.
They could share?
They could share, but it's a little bit hard to find, and they could save. That's also hard to find. And I'm saying hard to find because
they kind of hide it.
Yeah. And a lot of people that use LinkedIn that are LinkedIn evangelists that aren't really on other social media platforms, they may not know how to navigate that style video versus they've seen the LinkedIn live events, the comments are right in front of their face. It's hard to miss. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's now talk about the scenarios where we have some people that are listening where they don't feel comfortable or they're not going to be the one on camera. Maybe because they work in a marketing department, kind of like you used to work, Shanae, and they know that there's somebody else in the company that maybe is their spokesperson or is ideal on camera and they don't feel comfortable enough on camera. Do you have any wisdom and advice on how, what they should do to get that person to perform well on LinkedIn video?
In this scenario, is the person like going to oblige to their requests?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to ask because some people are not.
No, and this is one of the things we talked about when we were prepping, right? It's all about making it comfortable for somebody to be on camera, right?
Yeah. So, given that they're yet on board and everything, I think one of the greatest things with the short form video reels on LinkedIn is that probably 20% or 10 to 20% of the videos that I see actually come directly from company pages. So if they if they're a little on the shy side or don't want to always post videos on their personal page, I think there's a huge opportunity to leverage the company page and to just capture maybe company events that it's not just them, right? And I think that there's power in that.
So what are we talking about? Like behind the scenes kind of stuff? Like, I would imagine if you work at a factory, is there a chance you could kind of show how the whatever is made inside of the company?
Yeah. So behind the scenes, maybe, there's a company podcast every other week, and then there's snippets taken from, the podcast. Maybe it's just the CEO sharing a message here and there, or you asking them a question like on the fly, given whatever kind of structure you all have created to capture the video. But I think that there's an opportunity for someone to like build their personal brand for the company, but not necessarily just leverage their personal profile if they wanted to, because they really push the company reels on this feed.
Very interesting. Okay. Let's talk about some tips that you have for anybody who wants to create these short form videos on LinkedIn. Presumably they're all recorded in selfie mode, right? I mean, I don't know, like talk to me a little bit about what you do and what you advise to people who are recording these short form videos on LinkedIn.
The main thing is get to the point. So I see a lot of people who start video on LinkedIn. They're like, hey, LinkedIn family and things like that. Just the standard, the bar has been risen. So you want to get to the point as fast as possible. You want to share why this is important to them. And then the main thing is are you sharing how this is done? Because I think that we've gone from why this is important to that's not enough anymore. I can't just show up and be like, it's so important for you to do your LinkedIn newsletter. This is why. No, people want to see it actually done. People want to see the steps. People want to know where to go after that. And maybe even give them a template to like their first article structure. So it's just what I would do. The first step is I would just scroll the feed if you could get access to it. If not, just look at the videos being published on the regular feed in your industry. Understand what the baseline is. What are people seeing within other, from other competitors and stuff like that? Where is the bar? And then just provide better content, at least 3 times better. Give them more.
Talk to us a little bit about how you frame yourself and all that fun stuff when you're actually recording these short form videos. And I think you also told me something about a nurse, and I don't remember exactly what. Maybe it was a customer of yours that was a nurse. Does that ring any bells to you? I don't know.
Yeah. What about the nurse?
I don't know. It's just in there in my notes.
Oh, okay. So I go into it being like, is this 60 seconds, 90 seconds, whatever? It better be worth their time and it better help them. And even if they don't publicly comment, if they're my ideal prospect, I need to also make them feel comfortable enough that they could send a connection request to me and also message me. So from the get-go, say something kind of bold. And then I could get into why I believe that thing. And then I could be like, this is how you would actually do this thing. And then at the end, I could say where they can go next. And if they want to learn more about that thing. And that's kind of how I structure it.
Do you just kind of wing it, or do you have a script sitting next to you or something? How do you go about doing this?
I follow the data. So
I meant once you hit record, like once you know what you're going to talk about.
So once I know what I'm going to talk about, I'm not too good with scripts. So I'll kind of follow an outline, or I'll just practice maybe 5-6 times and then I'll just grab the phone and record. If you're better with scripts, then I would just, for the person that's recording, you need to do what's best for you. I would try to use a script. If that's not you, then just, do some bullet points and go into it. Some people tend to be longer with bullet points. Also, just understand that this is me with 4 years of reps, right? The more you do it, the better you get at it. So if you need to use the script at first, that's fine.
What about the text description? Like, I think you were telling me your thoughts about having a longer text description might be valuable. Tell me why that's important.
I think it's important because, for the people that still see it on the regular feed, that's what they're going to see first anyway. And then let's say that you don't see it on the regular feed and you see you'll kind of see like an intro to it at the bottom on the beta feed. I think that if someone wants to learn a little bit more, they could just like skim it with their eyes. But what I have noticed is like the videos that have gone viral on this feed for me have also been the ones with the longest text. And I literally just recap what I say in that video.
Okay, so you're just taking like a caption and maybe putting it in ChatGPT to summarize it, or are you literally just putting the actual, what you say exactly into the description?
I'm almost putting exactly what I say into the description, maybe just formatting it to be a little bit more readable.
Fascinating. Shanae, thank you for answering my millions of questions about LinkedIn video. Where do you want to send? I mean, obviously, if people want to connect with you on LinkedIn, how do they find you? And then if they want to work with your business, where do you want to send them?
So they could just search for me, Shanae Moret, ShaneeMoret on LinkedIn. And if you send me a connection request and just be like, hey, I watched the Social Media Examiner podcast and, social media marketing podcast. And, they could connect that way. Or they can go to ugrow.club and then just join the next free challenge. And we'll get you from overthinking to posting.
Ugrow.club. Is that right?
Yes. Ugrow.club.
Thank you, Shanae.
You're welcome.